Hello everyone, I'm CJ Wellerman. We're filming this episode while I'm on assignment in Indonesia. But please don't forget to click the subscribe button below, and we kindly ask you please help keep our show going and growing by supporting my journalism at patreon.com/CJ Wellerman. You'll be helping me expose more injustices in the Muslim world. Now let's get into it. The response from the Muslim world to the devastating earthquake to hit Turkey and Syria has served up yet another powerful reminder for why I hold such a deep admiration for the Islamic religion. But to be clear, when I say the Muslim world, I'm not referring to the governments of Muslim majority countries, but rather individual Muslims of all nationalities. Because what we have witnessed in the aftermath of an unimaginable tragedy is an outpouring of solidarity and generosity from individual Muslim donors that proves once again that in a time of humanitarian crisis, Islam is the world's greatest religion, and I say that as a non-religious person. This mosque, standing unscathed amongst the rubble, serves as a perfect metaphor for what I'm about to say. You see, what makes Islam stand shoulders above other religious faiths is its solemn commitment to charity and charitable work. In fact, charity, or what Muslims refer to as zakat, is one of the 5 essential pillars of Islam, meaning Muslims are duty-bound to donate a certain portion of their wealth each year to charitable causes, whereas Christians, on the other hand, are not obligated but encouraged to donate to the Church or Vatican, which is one of the most corrupt organizations on the planet. In other words, Christians give to greedy and corrupt leaders of the Church, while Muslims are donating to vulnerable people in desperate need of aid and comfort. The difference between the two religions could not be more striking. And if you're looking for a clear illustration for how Islam inspires generosity, then meet this Rohingya Muslim woman, a refugee in a foreign country who sold her only item of value to help Turkish and Syrian victims. Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh are also leading the way to raise money and aid for Turkey and Syria, remembering that these Muslims are survivors of genocide who remain displaced from their homes and villages in Myanmar. Even in their hour of need, they are helping strangers on the other side of the world cope with their own form of misery and suffering. And this is exactly what makes Islam stand out from other religions. You see, whereas Christians, Hindus or Jews see other members of their respective faiths as merely co-religious believers, Muslims, on the other hand, see fellow Muslims as brothers and sisters, and they use this family-centered terminology to refer to each other, always. The way a Rohingya genocide survivor feels about a Turkish earthquake victim is the same way non-Muslims feel about members of their own families. In other words, 2 billion Muslims share an unbreakable bond, one that is only interrupted or temporarily severed because of great power politics or the political machinations of corrupt and powerful Arab or Iranian regimes that profit by keeping their citizens divided and powerless with hyper-sectarian propaganda. But as Arab monarchies and great powers play their games, Muslims from across the world are coming to the aid of the Turkish and Syrian people. For instance, American Muslims, who account for fewer than 4 million people, have raised a whopping $100 million, while an individual donor in Pakistan donated $30 million on his own to Turkey and Syria. And even more remarkable are the Palestinians of Gaza, who, despite being caged like animals inside the world's largest concentration camp, and despite having zero financial resources, stood in line to donate much-needed blood to help Turkey and Syria. These are just a small sample of Muslims giving what they can, but one story that really hit me hard was a 74-year-old man who donated money he had put aside for his once-in-a-lifetime pilgrimage to Mecca.
Sen hayırların en büyüğünü yaptın.
Gözleri kaldı.
Sana Cenab-ı Ağlama. Bugün bizim aldığımız en güzel hayır bu. Hayırların hepsi güzel de bu amcamızın yaptığı bu bağışı biz ilelebet unutamayacağız.
I mean, what can you say other than wow? Putting others who are less fortunate than you before your own interests is the living embodiment of Islamic scripture. But then there are the Islamic charity organizations, such as Islamic Relief, Zakat USA, and Red Crescent, all of whom are reporting record levels of donations for earthquake victims. No matter what religious faith you belong to, you can't help but be totally overawed by the collective generosity and kindness of Muslims. And I have witnessed this unmatched kindness through my own efforts. Last year, the Turkey-based charity group, Droplets of Mercy, asked me that I help them raise money for Uyghur refugees in Istanbul, with the target of raising $10,000 from my individual efforts on social media. My initial reaction was, I will never be able to help you raise this much money in such a short period of time. But boy was I wrong. In fact, I helped them raise more than 90% of this target in just 60 days by posting only a few tweets. That's right, we raised $9,000 for Uyghur refugees from individual Muslim donors in under 2 months. This still blows me away, because right there, that's the mobilizing power of Islam in a humanitarian crisis. But let me finish with this. The human catastrophe of this earthquake continues to unfold. Voices are still being heard under the rubble, with survivors left homeless in the freezing cold while grieving for their missing loved ones. So please give what you can to trustworthy organizations like Islamic Relief, Zakat, Red Crescent, and others. They need our help. Anyway, that's my time for today. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And we kindly ask you please support this endeavor by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJWellerman. We can't produce, sustain, and grow this show without your help, and we offer exclusive benefits to those who do. But for now, good night, good morning, wherever you are, and stay blessed.